The main character of our story is Ren. He has been away from his hometown for some time and has only just returned, only to be greeted by someone bumping into him and causing his phone screen to shatter. Ren had lived here with his family until the 4th grade. Although he used to live here, he can't remember anything from before, even though his younger sister and mother still recall events that happened in this town. He believes that his memories are still somewhere within him, and his task is to uncover them. His mother then mentioned that Ren had an embarrassing past in this town, which made him feel both ashamed and confused. Despite his memory loss, he could tell that the town had changed a lot. Now, everyone seemed to gather around the modern shopping district, and he believed that his old friends must have changed as well. Still, he hoped they remembered him, although he would probably have to relearn how to get along with them. The next morning, when Ren returned to school, he was surprised to see a familiar tree, and fragments of past memories suddenly flashed through his mind. Upon entering the classroom, Ren introduced himself as a transfer student, explaining that he didn't remember much about his past and hoping that if anyone knew him from before, they would let him reintroduce himself. He also thought that being a transfer student had its perks, as it made him seem more mysterious. Ren believed that with his current advantage, he would rise to the top and that his golden age was about to begin. However, after class, a classmate suddenly approached him. She introduced herself as Aoi, mentioning that she wasn't sure if they had met before. Ren thought they hadn't, so she left first. Later, Ren visited the shopping mall to buy a new phone. While testing his new phone on the rooftop, he noticed a strange app on it. Suddenly, a man appeared behind him and used his phone to summon a large spirit beast, sending it to attack Ren. Ren tried to escape, hiding behind a corner. At that moment, his phone spoke, instructing him to type a name into the device. Following the voice's instructions, Ren entered the name and summoned a creature. Expecting something grand and powerful, Ren was instead greeted by a small spirit beast named Oragon, a tiny dragon, and the prince of the spirit beast realm, currently in training to become the strongest dragon. The enemy's spirit beast charged at them, forcing Ren and Oragon to flee and hide behind a signboard. Oragon urged Ren to command him in battle, but Ren had no idea how to do that. As the enemy beast continued its fierce assault, Ren realized he had to fight back seriously. Oragon told him to use his phone to launch him into battle and to amplify his power with a ring. However, Ren didn't have a ring, surprising Oragon. Without hesitation, Ren fired Oragon into the battlefield using his phone. Oragon bounced around the floor repeatedly before landing flat on the ground. The man decided to finish the fight, preparing to launch his spirit beast at Ren. Suddenly, Aoi appeared out of nowhere and delivered a powerful kick to the man's head. She then tossed Ren a ring, and Oragon explained that with it, Ren could control him and defeat the opponent. As soon as Ren wore the ring, his hair turned red, and his memories came flooding back. He remembered Aoi. Long ago, he had promised to protect her at all costs. The man attempted to attack them both simultaneously, but this time, Ren fought back with determination. He calculated the trajectory and fired Oragon, who flew like a bullet, repeatedly striking the enemy beast's rear. Its health rapidly depleted until it was finally defeated. The battlefield returned to normal, and the man lost all memory of being a player, reverting to his ordinary self. Ren had successfully captured a new spirit beast. After everything settled, Ren's memories became hazy again. But Aoi was happy, as her hunch that they had known each other before was correct. She then left, telling Ren to meet her tomorrow to learn more about the game. Ren then left us with several questions. What exactly was that other personality of his? How did he and Aoi know each other in the past? What is the truth behind the game and Oragon? Let's continue to find out. Upon returning, Oragon insisted that Ren needed him because, without him, Ren wouldn't be able to defeat anyone. However, Ren wanted to know why he was attacked in the first place. He considered deleting the app immediately, but Oragon stopped him. Ren was also worried about bringing Oragon home, fearing that his mother would freak out if she saw him. Oragon then demonstrated how he could adjust and limit who could see him. Back home, Ren's younger sister introduced him to two of her friends, and as expected, neither of them could see Oragon. Soon after, his mother called him in for dinner. Ren took Oragon to his room and told him to keep quiet because he couldn't answer its questions in front of his family. The next morning, Oragon visited the school pool and found Aoi there swimming. Oregon pointed out that Ren was also up there peeking at her. Aoi then approached Ren and admitted that she often sneaked into the school pool when the swim club wasn't around. She said she didn't want to join the club, she only swam because she was searching for something she could truly be passionate about. She then played around with Oregon, finding him amusing and adorable due to his stretchy body. Ren brought the conversation back to the main topic, the app, and why it suddenly appeared on his phone. Aoi explained that the app was installed on every student's phone and that monsters only appeared when a player participated in a battle, which usually occurred within designated battle zones. She noted that monster activity had increased recently and wondered how Oregon could appear even though no battle had started. Oregon revealed that he was the prince of the monster world, here to train and become the strongest dragon. However, when both Ren and Aoi pressed him for details about the monster world, Oregon claimed he didn't know anything. Aoi suggested that Ren keep the ring for future use. Later in class, a classmate named Akira noticed Ren's ring and asked where he got it. Ren said that Aoi gave it to him, and Aoi stepped in, asking Akira to form a team with her. However, Akira refused, saying that no one could replace his former teammates. Aoi revealed that she used to be in a team with Akira, but after their leader disappeared, the group gradually fell apart. The ring Ren was wearing once belonged to their former leader. She then invited Ren to watch a game event at the shopping mall that evening. That night, Ren arrived as promised. Oregon teased him not to get carried away just because he was going out with a girl. Soon, Aoi arrived and led him to the battle event venue, showing her authorization to the security guard to gain entry. Ren was amazed by what he saw. It was a grand arena built for players like them. Here, Ren discovered that summoned monsters weren't limited to beast forms, some took human forms as well. Watching the thrilling match below excited him. The event organizers quickly noticed Aoi and Ren, recognizing the latter as a newcomer. Ren asked Aoi how the game worked, and she explained that the game app was synchronized with an advanced virtual reality system enhanced with artificial intelligence, creating the monsters they encountered. Ren was astonished that VR could produce something as lifelike as Oregon. However, Oregon insisted he was different from the other monsters. Soon after, Ren and Aoi received an invitation to join the tournament. Ren assumed this meant they would compete against the team on the field, which was partly correct, but not entirely. In this tournament, every participant competed in 4-person teams. Without a full team, they wouldn't be allowed to enter the competition. Aoi set herself a goal, to form a 4-person team and reach the top of the tournament. To her, this game felt like a sport, something she wanted to pour all her passion and excitement into. She used to love swimming, but after entering high school, she discovered this game and joined a team, dedicating herself to it. However, when their leader left, the team fell apart, and she quit playing. But everything changed yesterday when she saw Ren step into battle. Initially, she only wanted to help him, but watching him fight reignited her passion for the game. Now, she wanted to team up with Ren and convince Akira and one of her old teammates to return. However, Oregon reminded her that Akira seemed upset about Ren wearing their former leader's ring. Still, Aoi believed Akira would come around because he also wanted to play again. She then told Ren that battles had recently been occurring outside official arenas, and fighting in these areas was far more dangerous, with a high risk of injury. As they left through a hidden shortcut, one not meant for public use, they suddenly found themselves inside a battle arena. Another team appeared behind them and immediately summoned monsters to attack. One opponent launched a monster forward, forcing Akira to throw Ren aside to avoid the attack. Ren regained consciousness and hid with Aoi behind cover. The enemy team declared they couldn't escape since the arena wouldn't disappear until someone won. With no other option, Aoi stepped forward and summoned her own monster, a towering, masked wrestler. She explained that this monster was a legendary fighter who once trained deep in the mountains. Aoi then launched her monster at the enemy, but her aim missed the fire-type creature and hit the elephant-like monster instead. Even after 2 powerful blows, the elephant monster only lost a small portion of its health. Seeing this, Ren activated the game and shifted into his red-haired persona, criticizing AI for attacking too hastily and demonstrating the proper strategy. He summoned the fire wolf he had captured before. Oregon, feeling left out, asked what about him, but Ren dismissed him, saying he only chose useful monsters for battle, an insult that left Oregon feeling offended. Ren then aimed for the gap between the enemy's two monsters, launching his fire wolf directly into the opening. The wolf ricocheted between them, landing rapid, successive strikes. Both enemy monsters were defeated, but two more appeared, a saber-toothed tiger and a purple bison. The tiger pounced at the purple bison, triggering its special skill. It then bounced off and repeatedly attacked Ren's fire wolf. Meanwhile, the purple bison unleashed a barrage of bullets, hitting both Ren and Aoi's monsters, leaving them with critically low health. The situation seemed dire, and it was Aoi's turn to attack. However, her wrestler's blow barely damaged the purple bison. When the bison retaliated, Aoi had to kick Oragon out of the way to dodge the attack. The bison then rebounded and charged straight for Ren. At that moment, another monster suddenly appeared. It was Akira's summon. Akira had intervened, surprised by how much Aoi's skills had deteriorated. He approached and noticed that Ren appeared to have awakened his powers, but he was unsure what Oragon was. Aoi urged Akira to join their team, but he refused, claiming he could handle this alone. He then launched his monster straight at the enemy. With a powerful move, Akira's monster struck both enemy creatures repeatedly, swiftly taking them down. Ren then received the purple bison as his reward before reverting to his normal form. Strangely, the rival team suddenly lost all memory of the battle. As Akira left, he insisted that he hadn't come to help them. He simply couldn't stand watching a pathetic fight. Afterward, Ren, Oragon, and Aoi went to grab some food. Ren noted how the defeated team seemed as if they were being controlled. Oragon recalled that the old man Ren had fought previously exhibited similar behavior. Aoi was certain that more incidents like this were bound to happen. Aoi discovered that the team they had just fought wasn't even ranked in the top 50 of the tournament, which made her more determined to form a proper team to handle situations like that. Ren, however, felt it would be easier to simply uninstall the game rather than deal with the hassle. Oragon immediately rejected that idea, while Aoi believed that, deep down, Ren still enjoyed the game despite what he said. She decided to let things unfold naturally and invited Ren to help her persuade Akira to join the team tomorrow. Ren, narrating as if he were telling a story, remarked that Aoi clearly wanted to keep playing the game, and that he, too, wished to recover his lost memories. But more importantly, he found it notable that Aoi had started calling him by his first name more often instead of his surname. If anyone had missed that detail, they should rewind and check. The next morning, Aoi went swimming early but caught Ren and Oragon peeking at her from a distance. She told Ren that next time, he should just come to swim instead of spying. Afterward, Aoi proposed they strategize on how to recruit Akira, confident that she could persuade him. During class, she sent Akira a message challenging him to a battle, but he read it and ignored it entirely. At lunchtime, Akira went to the rooftop to eat, and as he drank from a bottle, he found a message inviting him to form a team written on the bottom. Without hesitation, he tossed the bottle away. Later, he discovered a pile of love letters in his locker. Aoi was certain that any boy, curious or not, would at least read one, but Akira dumped every single letter straight into the trash, without a single one missing the bin. Running out of tricks, Aoi approached him directly, but before she could even speak, Akira rejected her outright, already guessing she wanted him to join their team. Akira insisted he wouldn't join her team. Ren then confronted Akira, asking if he disliked him simply because he wasn't as strong as their former leader. Akira coldly replied that no one could replace their former captain, and that he especially couldn't accept Ren wearing the captain's ring. Ren, frustrated, offered Akira the ring, daring him to take it back if it bothered him so much, as he himself was sick of wearing it. On their way home, Ren asked Aoi who their former captain was and why Akira seemed so obsessed. Aoi revealed that his name was Hamura, who transferred schools without saying goodbye to anyone. Watching Akira shoot hoops alone, Ren commented that Akira was the kind of person who was famous without even trying to be. Aoi decided to give up on Akira not forever, but for now intending to switch her focus to recruiting another former teammate, Minami. Minami, who was in the neighboring class, was known for being stubborn, but had shown remarkable skill by mastering the game on her very first try. Aoi and Ren then headed to a tournament arena, where they spotted Minami already battling solo against an entire team, handling them effortlessly without breaking a sweat. Minami seemed to be thoroughly enjoying the fight. Her summoned monster was a pair of twin fighters. When the enemy team tried to overwhelm her with numbers, Minami countered, wiping out two opponents simultaneously. With only one opponent left, she didn't immediately finish the match, instead sending her twins forward to unleash a bullet barrage, defeating the last enemy in a flashy finale. She then struck an iconic JoJo pose, showing off her prowess. Ren was impressed, seeing firsthand why Aoi wanted Minami on their team. However, something felt off. Aoi, who knew Minami as someone normally gentle, noticed that there was zero trace of her usual kindness in her expression. Meanwhile, Ren observed that Minami's eyes had the same eerie intensity as those of the enemies they had recently fought, who seemed to be under some kind of control. Following Minami to a food shop, the trio noticed her acting strangely. Ren remained convinced that Minami was being controlled, but Aoi argued that Minami had always been a bit eccentric. What truly concerned her wasn't Minami's behavior outside battle, but how ruthlessly she fought during it, completely unlike her usual self. Deciding to skip the guessing, Aoi resolved to confront Minami directly and ask what was going on. Aoi then entered, and Minami was surprised to see Aoi again. Aoi introduced Ren and Uragan to Minami and asked if she wanted to form a team with her, but Minami unexpectedly refused and reacted harshly, saying that she only wanted to defeat Aoi both in the game and in real life. Aoi didn't understand what was wrong with Minami, so the next day, she went to ask Minami's father. Minami's father, a former soldier, ran the cafe alone. As soon as they entered, Ren saw a large and imposing figure. The father greeted Aoi, saying it had been a long time since they last met. After serving food and coffee to the three, he mentioned that he was aware of Minami's recent wild behavior and asked if she had caused any trouble for Aoi. However, Aoi said there was no issue and that she only wanted to know what had happened to Minami. The father believed it was nothing serious, saying he trusted that Minami would be fine because she had a kind heart, just like her late mother. He pointed to the flower garden outside, which Minami had planted herself because those were her mother's favorite flowers. Once a withered garden, it was now in full bloom. Although he didn't know what had caused Minami to change, he still believed she would be okay. At that moment, their classmate Teo arrived to show them a new video that Minami had uploaded. Aoi watched it and was shocked, unable to believe her eyes. Uragan also saw it and was equally surprised. Suddenly, Aoi kicked Teo's phone, smashing it to pieces. Ren, confused about the video, was told by Uragan that it featured Aoi and would soon be flagged for violating community guidelines, which could result in Minami's account being suspended. Teo then tried to introduce himself to Ren, but Ren ignored him, focusing on finding the video. When Ren finally located the video, he saw that it wasn't the one Aoi had just seen. Instead, it was a video of someone peeping at Aoi while she was swimming at school, and that person was Ren. He then found the other video about Aoi, but before he could watch it thoroughly, Aoi turned it off. She wanted to do something about these videos, but only the uploader could delete them. Minami's father still believed his daughter wouldn't do such a thing, but just then, Minami returned and admitted that she was the one who made those videos. The father, deeply disappointed and in tears, said he believed there must be a reason behind her actions. However, Minami coldly stated that there was no reason at all. She agreed to delete the videos only if the three of them fought her in a match. Left with no choice, Aoi accepted the challenge. The cafe closed for the showdown, and only then did Aoi remember that Ren no longer had the ring required to battle. Minami summoned her twin beast monsters, which charged straight at Aoi's group. The group barely dodged and summoned their own monsters. Ren fired Uragan, but Uragan ended up crashing into a vending machine, bouncing around inside. Aoi summoned a wrestler, while Teo summoned a bird-like beast. Ren summoned his fire wolf and fired it forward, but without his ring, he couldn't aim properly. Uragan, irritated, told him not to shoot without the ring next time. Minami then counterattacked, ordering her twin beasts to strike all three of their monsters at once. Ren noticed that the twins were about to crash into the flower garden, so he rushed forward to shield it, willingly taking the hit himself. Minami showed a flicker of emotion seeing Ren protect the garden, but she quickly suppressed any sympathy and continued her assault. The twins launched their giant gauntlets at the wrestler and the bird beast, then unleashed a barrage of bullets across the area. However, Aoi spotted an opening. She had the wrestler slam into both the fire wolf and the bird beast, triggering a combined combat ability. With this move, Aoi swiftly defeated Minami's twin beasts, ending the battle. Minami then returned to her senses and greeted them with Opario, which, according to Aoi, meant good morning in Minami's unique language. Her father was overjoyed to see his daughter back to normal. Both he and Minami expressed their gratitude to Ren for protecting the flower garden. Taiyo, meanwhile, had noticed the people who had manipulated Minami watching them from nearby. In the following days, Ren's life took a turn as he started frequenting the pool more often, primarily to enjoy the drinks, though it was also to meet Aoi. Minami later came to greet Ren after Aoi told her that he often visited the pool. Finding swimming enjoyable, Minami removed her outerwear, revealing that she already had her swimsuit on, which left Oragon visibly disappointed. However, Ren suspected that Minami might be trying to catch his attention, considering he had saved her flower garden earlier. Ren also noticed that the cake Minami gave him had a bite mark and wondered if it was hers, implying an indirect kiss, but Oragon revealed that the bite mark was from itself. After swimming, Ren felt sore from his previous battle injuries, so Minami offered him a massage to repay his kindness, though it only caused him more pain. Aoi then informed Ren that Minami had officially joined their team, and now they only needed Akira. Oragon argued that they could compete without a full team of 4, but Aoi countered that a team could only reach its full potential with all 4 members. Both girls, already familiar with teaming up with Akira, insisted on inviting him. They also wondered what their former captain, Hanuma, was doing and where he might be now. Later, Aoi told Akira about how Ren had risked himself to save Minami despite not having a ring. She admitted that Ren wasn't on the same level as Haruma, but playing alongside Ren had brought back the joy she used to feel. Afterward, Ren's group gathered outside. While Minami joined a volleyball game, Aoi and Ren pondered how Minami could have been controlled. Both noticed a pattern. People only started being controlled after Oragon appeared, and each time, Oragon was present. This made them suspicious, so they decided to interrogate Oragon. They took Oragon to Minami's father's shop, where he was brewing a truth serum. They were surprised that Minami's father could see Oragon, who realized it had forgotten to use its invisibility. Minami's father, however, wasn't shocked, stating that his military days had exposed him to stranger things. As Oragon tried to flee, Aoi lured it back with popcorn. Under interrogation, Oragon initially refused to talk, but immediately opened up when tempted with popcorn, revealing that it came from the monster world and was here for training. It claimed to be the prince of its world and mentioned that the monster world was located in the sky. Despite their efforts, the group gained no useful information, so they returned home. Upon arrival, Ren and Oragon were startled to find a lion inside the house, but Ren's sister explained it was a Tibetan Mastiff she had found and decided to adopt. She seemed to have complete control over the dog, and noticing Oragon's fear, Ren used the dog to intimidate Oragon into revealing its secrets. Oragon then disclosed 3 so-called secrets, but they were all nonsensical. Finally, Oragon admitted it had no idea why it was here, but it felt like a sign, as it believed there must be a reason why a prince like itself was with an ordinary person like Ren. Offended by the remark, Ren let the dog deal with Oragon. Later, Oragon fell asleep in a bizarre position, making Ren suspect that Oragon genuinely had no secrets. However, that night, a shadow unexpectedly emerged from Oragon's body. The shadow soared into the sky, gazed at a pillar of light in the city, and then returned into Oragon. Ren, unsure of what he had seen, felt certain that the mystery of the shadow was connected to the city's secrets. Later that night, Ren discovered Oragon sleepwalking and leaving the house, prompting him to chase after it to find out where it was going. Oragon was awakened and said it had dreamed about something happening at the arena in the shopping center. Oragon felt that the pillar of light there was connected to the recent incidents, so it rushed off. Ren decided to call everyone to help him unravel the mystery. Aoi and Minami quickly arrived, and Akira, having noticed the pillar of light from afar, also made his way there. At that time, Ren's group entered the arena, but there were no matches today. However, they discovered that the referee was there, but he had been controlled and trapped them inside the arena. The arena then transformed, summoning 2 fire dragons. Aoi and Minami quickly summoned their beasts to fight, but their attacks were barely effective. Ren then stepped forward, summoning his wolf and deciding to use his body and the wolf as a shield for the 2 girls behind him to deal damage, as his poor aim made him useless in offense. However, both girls warned that if he took another hit, he would be done for. Suddenly, a new enemy appeared, the infernal goddess, who created a wall of fire that would incinerate anything that touched it. Ren then charged forward to open a path for the two girls, but was about to be consumed by the flames when Akira's warrior appeared and blocked the attack for him. Akira then revealed himself, having his warrior fly over to activate a combo move with the wrestler and the twins. The three combined their attacks and defeated one dragon, while Akira's warrior swiftly took down the second. Enraged, the goddess transformed into her second form and unleashed lightning, forcing the group to dodge. Only Aoi's wrestler was hit. Aoi then asked Akira to give Ren the ring, but he insisted that he alone was enough to handle it, angering Aoi with his stubbornness. Minami decided that if no one would step up, she would go herself. The twins then charged in but dealt no damage. The goddess then created a wall of fire, isolating the group in a corner, and fired an attack that bounced off the wall, hitting Aoi's wrestler again. Akira's swordsman barely deflected the attack but couldn't advance. Akira was forced to give the ring to Ren because his wolf was the only beast immune to the fire wall. As soon as Ren took the ring, his personality shifted, and he had his fire wolf crash into the twins and wrestler to activate a skill before flying to Akira's warrior for another strike. Akira then had his warrior charge the goddess, and it seemed that in swordplay, Akira's warrior was clearly superior. The warrior launched the goddess into the air, cloaked its sword in lightning, and delivered continuous aerial slashes before landing a decisive blow. However, the goddess still stood and summoned a meteor shower. When the largest meteor fell, the fire wolf rushed in to take the hit, protecting the group. The fire wolf collapsed immediately afterward, and the goddess, exhausted, also fell. A gemstone emerged from the goddess and flew to Ren. Aoi noticed that Ren could evolve his fire wolf using the gemstone. The fire wolf then recovered, and the referee regained consciousness. Suddenly, a figure known as King appeared. Aoi recognized King as the first champion of this game and suspected he was behind the recent events. Oregon, now realizing the arena walls were still intact, watched as King summoned his beast to devour the goddess's remains. King's beast then created a gravity field to crush everything around it, separating Ren's group. The beast seemed to know Oregon's identity, and Ren appeared to recognize it. The beast then created a black hole, but the fire wolf carried Ren and Oregon to safety. Oregon did not know what the beast was, while Ren felt it was familiar but could not recall why. The beast claimed that it and the other war gods had erased Ren's memories, so trying to remember was futile. Doom then punched through a spatial portal and sent the fire wolf flying. He created multiple portals and launched a barrage of attacks from them. Oregon was suddenly sucked into one of the portals, drifting endlessly through the others. King revealed that this was Doom, the god of war, one of the war gods who despised this world. The wrestler and the twins charged in, but Doom pulled them into a portal and struck them repeatedly inside it. Akira's warrior then rushed forward, seemingly unaffected by the portals. With impressive speed surpassing Doom's, the warrior engaged, but speed alone wasn't enough to cut down a war god as resilient as Doom. Ren sent the fire wolf to assist the warrior, but Doom easily repelled them both. Seeing Doom preparing a technique, Akira ordered his warrior to attack, but a strange aura from Doom clung to the warrior. Ren noticed this anomaly but still commanded the fire wolf to combine its attack with the wrestler and the twins. When he tried to merge the fire wolf's power with the warrior's, the warrior remained motionless. Ren realized the aura on the warrior was blocking their fusion. Akira stubbornly ordered the warrior to keep attacking, but the warrior suddenly malfunctioned and went berserk, striking Aoi's wrestler and sending it into one of Doom's portals. Doom then created what looked like a bomb to end the battle, with only the twins and the fire wolf left since the wrestler had lost its will to fight, and the fire wolf couldn't launch long-range attacks without being affected by the aura. Ren placed his hopes on the twins, but they needed to get close to strike, so Ren looked at Oregon and found a way. He instructed the twins to aim for a portal. The twins flew into it, emerging above Doom to strike, but Doom caught them with chains and slammed them into the ground. He then unleashed a devastating blast, but somehow everyone survived. Doom, unfazed, demanded another round. At that moment, Akira's warrior returned to normal, and Ren announced that he had figured out how the portals worked. He asked Akira to trust his plan. Seeing a reflection of his former captain in Ren, Akira chose to trust him. Ren instructed Akira to launch the warrior into a specific portal. The warrior shot through the portals at high speed, emerging to fuse with the fire wolf. Now combined, the fire wolf launched fireballs at Doom, while the warrior closed in with its sword. As Doom focused on the warrior, the fireballs struck and destroyed the bomb on his back. Caught off guard, Doom was flung into the air, and the warrior, alongside the fireballs, pursued him. The fireballs struck true just as the warrior unleashed a finishing move, obliterating Doom. The arena walls vanished, and King departed. Akira seemed to finally acknowledge Ren. King remarked that if they wanted the truth behind the recent events, they needed to restore Ren's lost memories, as they held the answers. Soon after, the police arrived, having been alerted by the destruction of the arena. Ren's group had to flee, shocked that Doom could cause real-world devastation, breaking the limits of the simulation system. Minami questioned why both Uragan and Ren seemed to recognize Doom. Ren felt he knew him, but couldn't recall why, while Uragan claimed complete ignorance. Aoi urged them to focus on escaping first. As they left, Ren contemplated deleting the game, believing it had brought them real danger and now made them fugitives. However, Uragan stopped him, saying the protagonist quitting this early would ruin the whole story. Akira added that they shouldn't have gotten involved with this game from the start. Ren wondered how they even joined the game, and Aoi revealed that she and Minami were invited to download it by their former captain. She also confessed that she felt as if she had played this game before. Minami also felt the same way, and both she and Aoi couldn't remember anything from long ago. It seemed that not only Ren, but they too knew some secret that caused the war gods to erase their memories. The next morning, while Ren was having breakfast with his family, he suddenly saw a news report on TV about the damage at the shopping center from the night before. The media concluded it was a gas explosion and ruled out any further investigation. At school, Ren asked the two girls if they had any way to contact their former captain, Haruma, but both said they couldn't reach him. Ren then returned to the phone store where he had his phone repaired and asked if they knew anything about the mysterious game app that appeared on his device. However, the staff member said that the technician who worked on his phone had recently quit. Ren realized that the only way to uncover their lost memories was to find Haruma, but he had no idea how until Taiyo suddenly appeared, claiming to know where Haruma was. He said their destination was Shibuya. Shortly after, the group arrived in Shibuya to search for Haruma. Unsure where to start, Minami climbed onto a nearby vehicle and used a loudspeaker to draw attention. Akira, meanwhile, felt uneasy, unsure what to say when facing Haruma again. The group decided to take a break and play around for a bit before continuing the search, but they were suddenly drawn by a strange noise from an alleyway, where they discovered a spatial portal identical to the one from the arena. From it emerged a large monster, but just as quickly, the creature was destroyed. The group was shocked to see Haruma standing before them, but he showed no joy at their reunion. Haruma coldly stated that they had nothing to do with each other anymore, and that he had no desire to meet them. He then summoned his new team, boasting that they were now on a whole different level. Ren tried to reason with him, but Haruma scoffed, declaring that their abilities were worlds apart, and that Ren had no right to speak to him. Akira, no longer respecting his former captain, challenged Haruma to a battle to see how long his arrogance would last. A girl appeared, conjuring an arena on the spot and transforming the battlefield. She then created a throne for herself and, stepping onto it, transformed into a goddess to observe the fight. Haruma introduced her as Lucifer and warned them to fight with everything they had. Akira sent his warrior charging in, but Lucifer effortlessly blocked the attack with a shield and blasted the warrior away. Ren urged everyone to stay calm, reminding them that they had defeated Doom. He then sent the fire wolf to attack, while the two girls unleashed their beasts, but Lucifer easily swatted them all aside. Akira couldn't understand why Haruma had changed so drastically. Lucifer, finding the fight dull, snapped her fingers, obliterating everything around them and rising into the air to cast a spell. A horde of shadow monsters emerged, surrounding the group. The creatures quickly crushed the twins, while the wrestler was grabbed, lifted high, and slammed down. Another monster swooped in and struck the wrestler mid-air with a finishing blow. Akira's warrior was overwhelmed by a swarm of enemies that repeatedly stabbed its body, and the fire wolf was seized by a colossal phantom and crushed to pieces. Ren's entire team was defeated. Haruma, watching the outcome, expressed his disappointment in them. He declared that if they wanted answers from him, they needed to become stronger. Only when they reached his level would he reveal what they wanted to know. He then dropped a bombshell, stating that Ren was the one who took away the mother he cherished. On their way back, Taiyo kept rambling about how panicked he was when the group vanished for so long, while Ren remained lost in thought over Haruma's words. Despite this being his first time meeting Haruma, he felt a strange sense of familiarity. The group returned to the city, agreeing to meet again the next day. The next morning, Aoi still went for an early swim, but Ren and Oregon didn't show up as usual. Both Aoi and Minami couldn't sleep after their defeat the previous night, and Akira, who also arrived, seemed sleep-deprived as well. Ren admitted to Aoi that he had been hearing strange noises from his phone all night. Upon listening, Aoi noticed that their rings were glowing and explained that it was a sign they would encounter new beasts. Having fought 3 god-level beasts, they had gained enough experience to receive stronger companions. Aoi then led the group to a hidden underground arena where they would summon their new beasts. Taiyo, who happened to be shopping nearby, noticed their glowing rings and insisted on tagging along. The referee greeted them and mentioned that although the arena was still under repair, the summoning system was fully functional. He then guided them to the summoning platform. Minami stepped up first and summoned a wealthy-looking rabbit adorned with jewelry. Aoi explained that the beasts observe through the rings and choose their partners. Next, it was Akira's turn, and his new beast was a rapper named John. Akira wasn't thrilled with his pick, but accepted it begrudgingly. When Aoi summoned her beast, it was a female version of Napoleon, a formidable warrior. Seeing their powerful summons, Ren felt the pressure, while Akira vowed never to use John in battle. Finally, Ren took his turn and summoned a fire-type samurai named Ryoma, a beast known for its incredible power. Ren shook hands with Ryoma, vowing to fight together from now on. Determined to surpass Haruma, Ren set his sights on becoming the city's strongest. Taiyo suggested that to reach that level, Ren should aim to defeat the city's current top 4 teams. The next day, the group began investigating the top 4, finding their identities shrouded in mystery, with flamboyant nicknames. Despite this, they resolved to defeat the top 4 and draw Haruma's attention. However, the top 4 were, in fact, the same mysterious group that had previously manipulated Minami. Having already learned of Ren's challenge, they began preparing to face the group. The following day, Minami gathered everyone to announce that she had founded a clubroom where they could meet. Aoi, confused since the school had no vacant rooms for new clubs, asked how she managed it. Minami revealed that she borrowed the room from the disbanded tea ceremony club. She then served tea to everyone but whisked it too vigorously, leaving the tea frothy. She confessed her passion for the tea ceremony despite the club having only her and a single senior member. Just as they wondered who that senior was, he emerged from the corner, his presence so faint that they hadn't noticed him. Minami proposed that everyone join the tea ceremony club, not only to save it, but also to use it as their headquarters for game strategy discussions. At that moment, one of the top 4 appeared, Jun, the student council president. Jun declared that the room could only be used for tea ceremonies and nothing else. Minami argued that gaming was also a pursuit women should embrace. Unmoved, Jun threatened to seal the clubroom. Akira pointed out that no rule allowed the president to shut down a club arbitrarily, but Jun promptly wrote it into the rulebook, asserting her authority. Minami accused Jun of being unfair, prompting Jun to propose settling the dispute through a battle. The confrontation began on a bridge, with Jun quickly summoning the battlefield. Ren and Aoi used their new beasts, while Minami and Akira stuck with their old ones. Jun summoned her beast, which dashed with incredible speed. In a flash, Jun's swordsman flanked and defeated Minami's twin beasts, then drove back Akira's warrior. The swordsman then targeted Ryoma, landing a slash across his face despite his quick guard. Ren ordered Ryoma to counterattack. Ryoma surged forward, delivering a powerful slash, but the blow only cut through a cherry tree, missing his opponent entirely. Jun knew that Ren still hadn't fully mastered Ryoma's power, as controlling Ryoma was completely different from controlling the fire wolf. The group charged forward once more, but Jun's swordsman effortlessly knocked them back one after another. Jun then ordered the swordsman to unleash a special move, a whirlwind of cherry blossoms. As the swordsman sheathed his blade, Ryoma was slashed multiple times and vanished, leaving only Aoi's Napoleon. Aoi quickly commanded Napoleon to summon an army, which charged forward only to be swiftly cut down by the swordsman. However, the remnants of the army exploded, creating a thick smoke screen. From above, Napoleon dived down to deliver a kick, but it was only a distraction for the cannon positioned nearby. The swordsman failed to dodge and was blasted by the cannon, leading to Jun's defeat and the battlefield disappearing. The group noticed that the ranking board had updated. They had taken down one of the top 4, leaving 3 opponents. Jun, confused about why she was even there, made the group realize she had also been under control. Minami then proposed turning the tea club into a half-game club, and Jun agreed. To celebrate saving the club, Teo presented Ren's group with tickets to an exhibition. Upon arriving, they encountered another top player, Taki, ranked 3rd. Taki was obsessed with Roman culture, and when Ren's group mocked him as a weirdo, he revealed his masochistic nature, enjoying their insults. Ren corrected him, stating that this was a Greek culture exhibition, not Roman. However, arguments were pointless. Taki activated the battlefield, conjuring a Roman-style temple. Yet, the monster he summoned was the dark version of Zeus, a Greek god, showing that Taki had mixed up Greek and Roman culture. The more they teased him, the more thrilled he became. Ren decided to use this fight to practice controlling Ryoma. Ryoma charged straight at Zeus, but failed to deal any damage. When the others tried to assist, Zeus suddenly approached Napoleon, pinning her to a wall to flirt his womanizing nature, showing even as a summoned beast. Ignoring Ryoma's weak attacks, Zeus continued chasing Napoleon. Akira noted that Ren still didn't understand how to properly control Ryoma. Akira then sent his warrior to attack, prompting Zeus to draw his lightning blade to retaliate. The warrior dodged Zeus's lightning strikes, but Zeus, angry at being kept from his love, unleashed a powerful area-wide lightning storm. As Zeus moved to finish off Ryoma, Ren quickly grabbed his phone and gave a precise command. Ryoma dashed behind Zeus and struck, shattering the gauntlet on Zeus's arm. At that moment, Ren finally understood Akira's hint. It wasn't about pulling with force, but about aiming precisely for the enemy's weak point. Excited, Zeus declared he wanted a proper fight until his phone rang. On the other end was Hera, his notoriously jealous wife. Hera, suspecting Zeus was fooling around, demanded he return immediately. Zeus sighed, postponed the fight, and encouraged Ryoma to grow stronger for their next bout. Before leaving, he struck Taki with a lightning bolt to silence his rambling. With Taki defeated, the control over him vanished. The group left him behind, confirming that his masochistic tendencies were his true nature, not a side effect of being controlled. A few days later, the group visited a cafe to relax before facing the city's top 2. Aoi enjoyed the peaceful ambience, while Minami, intrigued by the menu, ordered an ice cream. However, when the staff served their orders, the ice cream looked nothing like what was on the menu. Oragon took a bite and was left utterly speechless. Minami took the ice cream to file a complaint, but the staff member wanted them to spread this news so that no customers would come to this cafe anymore. It turned out that she was a loyal fan of Minami's family cafe. She loved the peaceful atmosphere there, so she planned to ruin every other cafe to make Minami's cafe stand out. The manager came out to apologize for the girl's behavior, but it seemed that this girl held more power than the manager. Ren believed that neither Minami nor her father would accept such a cruel method to attract customers, but surprisingly, Minami seemed to agree. Aoi stood up to oppose this, saying that everyone has their own artistic taste, so the girl couldn't force others to like what she liked. However, the girl challenged them to settle it with a battle, revealing that she was the top 2 player they had been searching for. Both sides moved to a stage, which became their battlefield. Ren's group quickly summoned their monsters, while the top 2 player called forth her monster and idol surrounded by unexpected fans. After listening to the idol sing for a while, the group decided to attack. But the idol dropped an apple, which multiplied into many bomb-like apples, exploding and releasing a mesmerizing smoke. Minami and the twin siblings were quickly enchanted by the idol's charm. Aoi sent Napoleon to attack, but she was swiftly restrained by roots that emerged from the ground. The top 2 player continued to command the idol to attack Ren's group. Hearing someone mention how dazzling the idol was, Ren suddenly realized that their target should be the stage lights. Shocked, the top 2 player immediately ordered the roots to guard the lights. Ren then sent Ryoma to attack not the stage, but to rescue Napoleon. Together, they fired at the stage lights, plunging the entire scene into darkness. The idol then announced her retirement, causing the fans to sigh with disappointment. However, she promised to continue connecting players with the game in the future before vanishing. The top 2 player unexpectedly returned to normal, but Ren noticed that the battlefield still hadn't disappeared. Suddenly, all the surrounding trees burst into flames. At that moment, Teo stepped onto the stage, declaring that he had to intervene because he was, in fact, the city's top 1 player. His eyes glowed red, suggesting he was under control. Ren suspected that Nirvana, Teo's true summoned beast, had possessed him. Nirvana, however, claimed that he was merely helping his master, allowing Teo to experience only joy without pain. The battle resumed as Nirvana attacked the group with flying skulls. Ryoma and Akira's warrior rushed to counter, but Nirvana drew 2 pistols, blocking their assault and then back-kicking Napoleon and the twins. However, they swiftly regrouped and retaliated. Nirvana wiped out Napoleon's minions but was suddenly ambushed by Napoleon herself in close combat. Though he threw her off, she rebounded and delivered a powerful kick, destroying his stage. Yet, Nirvana stood up without a scratch. He sent the flying skulls toward Napoleon and detonated them. Then, he took a swig of liquor, threw the bottle into the air, shot it mid-air to ignite the alcohol, and kicked a blazing firestorm at the group. The firestorm hit the twins and was about to strike Napoleon, but she narrowly dodged. Ryoma and Akira's warrior combined their attacks to deflect the firestorm, redirecting it towards Teo. The flames burned Teo's backside, revealing Nirvana's weak point. Teo was baffled, questioning why Nirvana had placed his weakness on his rear. Nirvana smugly replied that he assumed Ren's group would never attack their friend. However, he was wrong. Ren immediately ordered Ryoma to strike, using Oragon as a projectile to slam into Teo's rear, forcefully ejecting Nirvana's weak point, his heart. The heart flew back into Nirvana, causing him immense pain, but he seemed to relish it, downing more liquor. Akira's warrior launched another attack, but Nirvana blocked with his pistols and impaled the warrior with a skull, instantly defeating him. Napoleon and Ryoma launched their attacks, only to be swiftly pushed back by Nirvana. He then enhanced his gun and unleashed a barrage of bullets in all directions. Ryoma dashed in and slashed him, but Nirvana, ignoring the pain, chugged more liquor and fired even more wildly. Ren believed Nirvana's agony had blinded him and decided to show him what someone like himself could learn through failure. Ren then shot Ryoma forward, enabling him to land a critical shot straight to Nirvana's heart. Unable to hold on any longer, Nirvana remarked that one day they would thank warriors like him for erasing their memories. With that, he vanished. The group now fully confirmed that their memories had indeed been erased and that Haruma was almost certainly connected to their lost past. A few days later, Minami revealed she had made a video introducing them, the new top 4 of the city, on the internet. Akira felt they were finally strong enough to face Haruma, but Minami argued it was too soon and suggested they celebrate first with a barbecue party. Although Akira was reluctant, the majority agreed and he was forced to go along. Aoi then approached Ren and invited him to shop with her for the barbecue supplies. Ren, suspecting that the shopping trip was really an excuse for a date, asked Oragon for his opinion. Before Oragon could respond, Minami arrived and also invited Ren to shop with her. Now, Ren felt popular, but Oragon immediately reminded him that he had just accepted dates with both girls. If they found out, Ren would end up as the main course at the barbecue. The next day, Ren went shopping with Aoi first. Midway, he faked a phone call and slipped away to meet Minami, having cleverly planned that Aoi would buy snacks while Minami bought vegetables and meat items from opposite ends of the supermarket, ensuring they wouldn't cross paths. Upon meeting Minami, she immediately sprang into action, racing off with a cart at full speed to grab the freshest cuts of meat. While she was busy, Ren rushed back to Aoi. But just as he started helping Aoi, Minami called, forcing Ren to dash off again, leaving Oragon to carry Aoi's groceries. When Ren rejoined Minami, it was time for the vegetable discount rush. Without warning, she shoved him straight into the fray to fight for the best produce. Afterward, Ren returned to Aoi, who handed him all her groceries, asking him to take them home since she had another stop. Then he met Minami, who gave him her bags with the same request. Returning to Oragon, the dragon teased that Ren had dodged becoming barbecue meat, but would now have to haul everything home. Later, at the barbecue party, the group celebrated with raised glasses, enjoying their time together, especially since Ren was the one grilling the meat for everyone. As they laughed and feasted, Ren was suddenly hit with a flash of memory, one that took place right here in this very park. The next day, Ren unexpectedly invited Jun to Shibuya with him. Jun, misinterpreting his invitation as a romantic confession, began fantasizing about their future together. However, at the station, her dreams shattered when she discovered that Ren had invited not just her, but every top-ranked opponent they had defeated. Among them was the top two, whose name was revealed to be Akane. As they waited for the train, the group settled into conversation. Teiyo, ever the busybody, pestered Akira. Akane chatted with Minami about cafes. Taki, true to form, offered Aoi a seat on his lap, earning only her disgust. Meanwhile, Jun, stung by her dashed romantic hopes, sat sulking in a corner. Soon, the train arrived, and the group boarded together. Upon reaching Shibuya, Aoi investigated Haruma's previous uniform and discovered the school he attended. But when they finally encountered Haruma, he coldly declared that he had lost interest in them and had no desire to be bothered any longer. Haruma suddenly vanished before the group, forcing them to split into pairs to search for him. The pairs matched those who had arrived together at the station earlier. Aoi, stuck with Taki, immediately bolted to escape him, while Jun, thrilled at the chance to be alone with Ren, began daydreaming about him once more. Meanwhile, Minami and Akane, searching together, caught the scent of something sweet, prompting Minami to follow the aroma. The two unexpectedly encountered a girl from Haruma's team, whom Minami cheekily nicknamed Lollipop. Lollipop declared that she wouldn't let them disturb Haruma, then activated a battle arena, pulling both girls into a fight. Minami quickly finished her pastry and whipped out her phone to summon her twin companions. Akane prepared to fight but paused, recalling that her idol had retired after their last battle. Lollipop summoned her spirit, Alice, who, upon spotting the two adorable bunny twins, immediately pulled out her Democracy Blaster and opened fire. The twins dodged, prompting Minami to shoot them back toward Alice for a counterattack. Alice blocked with a stuffed rabbit, then decided she wanted the twins as pets. She charged at them, hurling the plushie, which erupted in gunfire, kicking up a smoke screen. Using the cover, Alice appeared behind one twin for a surprise attack. Elsewhere, Haruma observed Akira and Ren's pair, while Aoi and Taki wandered through the park. Taki, assuming it was a date, got a sharp reality check when Aoi clarified their true mission. Just then, they encountered another of Haruma's companions, who introduced herself as Ikenos, vowing to prevent them from reaching Haruma. As she pulled out her phone to activate her arena, Taki stepped up to fight. Ikenos, puzzled by his enthusiasm, failed to recognize him. Taki reminded her they had met at the school gate moments earlier, which caused Ikenos to suddenly suffer a nosebleed, an odd quirk triggered when she overthinks, causing her to automatically erase unnecessary memories, Taki included. Amused, Taki found her insults thrilling and begged for more, but Ikenos bluntly declared that neither of them would reach Haruma. Meanwhile, back in Minami's battle, just as Alice prepared to fire, the second bunny twin launched a kick, knocking her gun away. Alice swiftly retrieved it and charged again, forcing the twins into retreat. Lollipop mocked Minami, suggesting she should quit searching for Haruma and go home. Undeterred, Minami commanded the twins to re-engage. The twins began sprinting around Alice, prompting her to conjure 4 walls for cover. However, they leapt above her defenses, launching an overhead strike that sent Alice flying. Though wounded, Alice wasn't down yet. She climbed to a rooftop, and Minami, sensing an ultimate attack, ordered her twins to unleash their special move. Alice formed a heart-shaped pattern with floating cards, while the twins fired 2 gauntlets at her. Alice shot down one gauntlet and trapped the twins with her cards, preparing for a barrage. But at that moment, the second gauntlet intentionally hidden by Minami struck her from behind. Alice collapsed and vanished, ending the arena. Minami rushed to interrogate Lollipop, but she too disappeared. Simultaneously, Ikenos summoned her own battle arena and called forth her spirit warrior, Himiko, the priestess of the Crimson Shrine, who wielded a colossal golem. Aoi summoned Napoleon to fight, while Taki attempted to call Zeus, only to learn Zeus was unavailable. He was busy celebrating Hera's birthday. Napoleon, dodging the golem's attacks, advanced toward Himiko, but she summoned an army of soldiers to protect herself. Rising to the challenge, Napoleon deployed his own troops, and a full-scale battle between their armies erupted. While Akira and Teiyo were searching, they encountered Haruma's final teammate, Kaoru, a fiercely loyal friend determined to annihilate anyone who wipes the smiles off his companions' faces. Kaoru activated his battle arena and summoned his monstrous demon. Akira called forth his warrior, while Teo summoned his spirit, Loki. The duo charged the demon together. Meanwhile, Napoleon's soldiers were dominating the battlefield, but Himiko retaliated by having her golem strike Napoleon. Though unable to dodge, Napoleon blocked the blow and hurled the golem skyward, allowing his cannons to obliterate it. Impressed by Napoleon's strength, Himiko began a ritual to summon a divine familiar. At the same time, Akira's warrior launched a frontal assault while Loki flanked from behind, seizing the demon's weapon. However, the demon fired a bullet straight through Loki, forcing him out of the battle. Gaining divine power from her ritual, Himiko unleashed a destructive sphere. The demon, now dual-wielding guns, clashed with Akira's warrior, who blocked the cannon on its left arm. Yet, the demon pressed a pistol against the warrior's head and fired. As the warrior collapsed, the demon prepared to finish him off with its cannon. Kaoru assumed Ikenos had also wrapped up her fight, especially since Himiko's massive attack had drained her strength. But suddenly, Napoleon and his soldiers emerged from the ground. As a water element warrior, Napoleon naturally countered Himiko's fire-based abilities, mitigating her attack's damage. Meanwhile, Akira's warrior, refusing to fall before reuniting with Haruma, rose again and slashed the demon, landing a decisive hit. As the warrior charged for another strike, Kaoru triggered the demon's second form, significantly amplifying its power. With a brutal blow, the demon sent the warrior flying and unleashed its ultimate move, summoning an arsenal of floating guns that rained bullets upon him. However, Akira activated his warrior's special ability, boosting its speed to slice through every bullet mid-air before severing the demon's cannon arm, rendering it unable to fight. Defeated, Kaoru fell. Elsewhere, Aoi was on the brink of commanding Napoleon to finish Himiko off before Ikenos could activate her special ability when their match was abruptly halted. Meanwhile, Ren and Jun stumbled into another arena where they encountered Lucifer. Amused, Lucifer decided to play with Ren, transforming the arena's crows into dragons and sending them to attack him. The arena's influence spread, enveloping Akira and the others. Lucifer announced she would welcome them only after they collectively destroyed 1,000 of her creatures. Hordes of monsters surged toward Ren, and he realized he couldn't face them alone. 1 versus 1,000 was impossible. But before he could falter, his 3 teammates arrived to back him up, and together they summoned their 4 spirits into battle. Ryoma swiftly cut down a creature, triggering the kill counter on the arena's display. The team worked together to thin the horde, but the overwhelming numbers soon cornered them. Suddenly, Jun's swordsman appeared, cutting through the monsters, followed closely by Loki, who had returned alongside the others. Taki also joined the fray, demanding insults from Minami and Aoi as his reward for helping. Annoyed but desperate, the pair reluctantly obliged, which delighted Taki enough to summon Zeus. Zeus, having escaped Hera's authority due to her recent tantrum, remarked on their luck that he arrived just in time. Akane's idol, thought to have retired, made a surprise return, ready to fight once more. With the reinforcements, the tide turned, and the monstrous horde fell more swiftly. At last, Haruma appeared, directly confronting Ren. He asked, with cold indifference, how long they planned to linger. Ren accused Haruma of summoning them here after they fulfilled the conditions. Yet, Haruma, seemingly disinterested, turned away without a word. Ren suddenly recalled that he and Haruma were once friends and demanded a proper explanation. He wanted to know what Haruma meant when he accused him of being connected to his mother's death. However, Haruma refused to explain. Just then, a massive dark shadow emerged from within Haruma, declaring that Haruma need not listen to Ren, as Ren was responsible for his mother's death. The shadow, claiming to be Haruma's mother, urged him to sink deeper into darkness. Determined to save Haruma at all costs, Ren stood his ground. Meanwhile, the group continued struggling to defeat the monsters, having only managed to slay around 150. But Haruma, under the shadow's influence, decided to end things swiftly and commanded Lucifer to act. Obeying immediately, Lucifer made the creatures ascend into the sky, then summoned a meteor shower. The spirits fought desperately to destroy the meteors, shielding the group but falling one by one. Akira's warrior charged forward to break several meteors, but a colossal one crashed down, obliterating the remaining spirits. Only Akira's warrior and Ryoma remained. the warriors shielded Aoi and Minami from another strike, vanishing from the battlefield. Now, only Ryoma was left. However, a monster suddenly bit off Ryoma's arm, worsening the situation. Lucifer, puzzled by their refusal to submit, questioned their resolve. Ren declared he must bring his friend back, no matter the cost. Just then, Ryoma lunged, pushing Ren out of the way but was shot and disappeared. However, Ren noticed his ring reacting, and a phoenix emerged, resurrecting Ryoma with newfound strength. Empowered and transformed, Ryoma soared into the sky, obliterating countless monsters. Their numbers rapidly dwindled as Ryoma carved through them. Soon, the kill count reached 0, and Ryoma declared that all 1,000 monsters had been defeated. Oregon proclaimed Ryoma was now invincible. However, Lucifer, appearing on the massive screen, admitted Ryoma was entertaining enough for her to join the battle personally. She took flight and transformed, engaging Ryoma head-on. Lucifer struck first, sending Ryoma hurtling back. He retaliated with several gunshots, but her shield deflected every bullet. Lucifer countered, blasting Ryoma hundreds of meters away, but he stood back up, channeling power into his arm and firing again. The bullets ricocheted off her shield, striking behind her an area poorly protected. The shield shattered, but Lucifer unleashed an energy beam, which Ryoma deflected with his sword before hurling a fire dragon, smashing her into the ground with the same force he had endured earlier. Haruma, annoyed, urged Lucifer to stop toying around and get serious. Complying, Lucifer lifted an entire ship into the air and hurled it at Ryoma. He fired a blast to destroy it, but it wasn't enough, and the massive vessel crashed down on him. Despite the impact, Ryoma staggered back to his feet, provoking Lucifer's frustration. She unleashed a barrage of energy bullets, but Ryoma slashed them aside with his sword. As he closed in, she kicked him away and swiftly dodged his return fire. Their intense aerial battle continued. Meanwhile, Ren desperately tried to reach Haruma's heart, pleading with him to remember that they had all fought to reunite with him, and they would not leave without bringing him back. Haruma's memories began to resurface, causing him to hesitate. Sensing his wavering, Lucifer paused as well. But the dark shadow within Haruma pulled him deeper into the abyss, insisting that Ren and the others were his enemies, not his friends. Overwhelmed by the darkness, Haruma erupted with fury, ready to continue the fight. Both he and Ren prepared their ultimate techniques. Simultaneously, Ryoma conjured a swarm of blazing fire dragons, while Lucifer summoned a legion of phantoms, including a colossal specter. The two devastating attacks collided, triggering a massive explosion. Ryoma collapsed before Lucifer, but she suddenly fell and could no longer fly. Haruma clutched his head in intense pain. Ren tried to approach, but the dark specter appeared, ordering him to stay away from Haruma. The specter then demanded Haruma continue to strike down Ren. Ren realized that this very specter was the one manipulating Haruma all this time. Ryoma, still determined, charged forward, but was intercepted by Lucifer, who broke his sword. She then sent Ryoma flying and fired multiple energy shots at him. Meanwhile, the specter urged Haruma to eliminate Ren, but Ren tried to awaken Haruma, insisting that they were friends. However, the specter, calling itself Haruma's mother, held a stronger influence. The specter then split the ground apart, separating Ren from Haruma. Despite his injuries, Ryoma stood up again, determined to fight. He fired his gun at Lucifer, but she blocked the bullet. However, Ryoma intentionally missed 2 more shots, aiming at the broken blade lodged in Lucifer's back. The bullet ricocheted off the shattered blade, piercing through Lucifer's body and inflicting a severe wound. Ryoma seized the opportunity to rush in for the finishing blow, but Lucifer retaliated, and both simultaneously aimed fatal attacks at each other's necks. However, Lucifer had exhausted her strength, and Ryoma's gun was out of bullets, forcing both to accept a draw. The group then ran over to Ren. Haruma, beginning to regain his memories, admitted that Ren wasn't such a bad person. As fragments of his past with Ren resurfaced, Ren felt hopeful that Haruma was remembering something. But the specter once again seized control of Haruma's mind, urging him to destroy his enemies and make them vanish. The group desperately tried to reason with Haruma, causing him to waver slightly, but the specter gave them no chance, rapidly expanding its presence and engulfing the entire area. The specter then transformed the entire region into a vast field of flowers. Ren's group soon discovered Hanma, who was now suspended high above the ground, tightly bound by thick vines. At that moment, a ghostly figure fully emerged and called Ren a nuisance. With a powerful blast, she sent Ren's friends flying and scattered them across the field. She then introduced herself as Mori, a war god. When Ren demanded to know why she had possessed Haruma, Mori replied that there was no particular reason. As a war god, she simply delighted in amplifying the negative emotions of humans to fuel chaos and war. She revealed that Doom was the war god of wrath, Nirvana was the war god of decadence, and she herself was the war god of obsession. She explained that when humans are consumed by obsession, they become trapped in their past and lose sight of the future. Mori acknowledged that Ren would undoubtedly interfere again and hinted that she knew something about Uragen's past. Declaring her intent to prevent further meddling, she sealed Haruma atop a towering flower. Ren, realizing they needed to counter Mori's plant-based powers, called upon Ryoma, whose fire element would be effective. Ryoma charged in, slicing through Mori's vines and landing a cut on her arm. However, Mori then released a strange mist that engulfed Ren, pulling him into a powerful hallucination. In the illusion, Ren found himself back in the clubroom with 3 of his old friends, surrounded by people who laughed and mocked him. Confused and disoriented, he forgot what he had been trying to do. Outside the illusion, Ryoma and Uragen desperately tried to wake Ren, but their voices could not reach him. Uragen, too, fell victim to the hallucination, leaving Ryoma to face Mori alone. Ryoma kept shouting to Ren without success. Mori, irritated by Ryoma's persistence, manipulated the illusion further, urging Ren to delete the app, their connection and source of power. Within the vision, shadowy figures grabbed Ren's hands, forcing him to press the delete button. Just as Ren was on the brink of losing himself, Uragen, who had unexpectedly broken free from its own hallucination, burst into Ren's illusion and headbutted him hard in the stomach. The sudden impact jolted Ren back to reality. Uragen then explained that the hallucinogenic smoke above was causing the visions. Ren was surprised that Uragen had managed to escape its illusion, but Uragen admitted that it had only broken free because it accidentally bit its own hand, not through any special power. Meanwhile, Ryoma continued battling, but the vines had become tougher and managed to ensnare him. At that critical moment, Iketos arrived, declaring that she would save Haruma no matter how slim the chances of victory. Alice then appeared and put something into Ryoma's mouth. The rest of Haruma's group arrived, and the lollipop informed them that what Alice gave Ryoma was a recovery medicine. Kaoru wanted to reclaim their captain, and the whole group charged together to attack the mass of vines. Alice successfully rescued Haruma, but immediately after, Mori summoned dark versions of the spirits. However, through the battle, they realized that the dark versions were even more powerful than the originals. Ryoma was knocked away, and both Alice and Himiko suffered the same fate. Haruma was taken back, and Ren was confused as to why Haruma showed no reaction while his teammates fought for him. Mori revealed that Haruma could no longer hear anything they said. Yet, the group remained determined to bring Haruma back. Their words managed to reach Haruma, showing signs of his awakening. However, at that moment, all 4 spirits were defeated, and both Haruma's and Ren's teams were captured. Just when everything seemed lost, Haruma summoned Lucifer once again. Regaining his senses, Haruma declared that he would no longer be deceived by Mori and vowed to end everything by defeating her. Mori continued to entice him to return to her side, but Haruma declared that he no longer saw her as his mother. Lucifer summoned a giant phantom to attack Mori. While she managed to block the phantom's blow, Ryoma suddenly rocketed towards her. Mori tried to block him with vines, but he pierced through them, leaving the final strike to Lucifer. Lucifer unleashed a powerful attack, completely destroying Mori. Afterward, Aoi's group arrived to reunite with Ren and Haruma. Haruma apologized to everyone for the mistakes he had made. But then, a voice echoed it was King, who revealed himself as Haruma's father. King admitted that while they had defeated Mori, his plan would continue unhindered. As the group returned to reality, Haruma shared that his memories were still fragmented and unclear, but he did remember that they were once friends. Only Akira was an exception, as he did not attend elementary school with them. Haruma then recounted what he knew. The monsters were all summoned through a gate, a fact they already knew. However, those monsters always appeared inside an arena, which they had believed to be a virtual world. But it was not virtual. The monsters truly existed, and beyond the gate lay the monster world. King was the one who opened the gate, and his goal was to find a specific, special monster. To speed up the search, he popularized the game among the youth, intending to steal the monster from anyone who found it first. The monster he sought was one with the power to awaken Haruma's mother from her coma. Her brain had no issues, yet she remained unresponsive. King took matters into his own hands to save his wife. When the gate opened, Mori found her way through and manipulated both King and Haruma. She blamed Ren, claiming that he was responsible for Haruma's mother's coma. Ren had no idea why his mother was in a coma, but he knew King was still trapped by Mori's lies and was now planning to open the largest monster gate ever to summon every monster into their world. Oragon warned that if that happened, the monster world would completely devour the human world. Unsure of where to search for King, Ren and Aoi considered returning to their city. However, Akira wasn't interested in going back yet. He wanted to visit another place first. Oragon teased him, suggesting he was off to meet a girl, and tossed Oragon into the street, where it got trampled. Akira clarified that he had something to resolve. The group realized he was heading to find Haruma to settle things. Meanwhile, Haruma visited his mother at the hospital and unexpectedly met Akira. Haruma apologized immediately, but Akira told him there was no need, he had been under Mori's control. After all, Haruma expressed regret that they could no longer be on the same team, as he could not leave his mother's side. Haruma believed that he was not the only one who had changed. He noticed that Akira had also changed significantly. In the past, Akira would never sacrifice his warrior to save a friend, but now it was clear that he placed great trust in Ren. Suddenly, Haruma noticed some strange signs and realized that King had done something. The two rushed to the gate that King had been researching in Shibuya and discovered that he had just summoned something extremely powerful. Haruma suspected that King had returned to the city earlier to summon more powerful monsters from a research facility there. Although Haruma did not know the exact location, Akira decided to return and help the others track down and stop King. Haruma's group also set out, understanding that Haruma was worried about the others, and Ikenos believed that Haruma wanted them to assist Ren's group. Meanwhile, Ren was feeling down because he had lost his wallet somewhere. Suddenly, he noticed some silhouettes on the staircase. Oragon asked why he was spacing out, and at that moment, two girls arrived, but the figures on the stairs had already vanished. The next day, the group gathered in the clubroom, where Akira informed them that King had just summoned another powerful monster, one that could manipulate people like Mori had, though it was not yet strong enough to be a real threat. Therefore, they needed to find it quickly to prevent it from growing stronger. Lost in his explanation, Akira failed to notice a pile of tea foam about to fall on his head, but he used Oragon to eat it all up. Akira then suggested they split up to search for the monster and King's research facility, with Taiyo joining them when needed. In fact, Taiyo's entire group was already there. Minami revealed that she had created a secret passage connecting the clubroom and the student council room. Akane excitedly announced that her idol was about to make a comeback, prompting Oragon to whip out a light stick and start practicing his cheers. Taiyo and Taki joined in, and eventually, even Ren joined the fun. Aoi then asked Akira if he felt better after his conversation with Haruma. Akira admitted he felt pretty good, only to be hit by another wave of tea foam. Aoi soon noticed that Haruma's group had also arrived. That afternoon, Kaoru joined the fan club Frenzy, while Ikenos developed a liking for Minami's tea. They began discussing where King's monster might be hiding, concluding that it would choose a crowded place to blend in and gather power. Ikenos suggested the school itself could be a likely spot. Meanwhile, the soccer team was practicing when they accidentally kicked a ball into the bushes. Upon retrieving it, they stumbled upon the monster that King had summoned. It was already there. Ren's group decided to split up and search for the monster, aiming to stop it from getting stronger before it was too late. They also noticed that an upcoming festival, which was expected to draw a huge crowd, could be the monster's prime target for gathering power. The group quickly devised a plan to track it down during the festival. A few days later, they arrived at the festival together, with some members eagerly running off to enjoy the festivities. Ikenos, however, remained certain that the monster would appear there. Indeed, the monster emerged at the festival, accompanied by a mysterious figure. Akane encouraged her idol to take the stage and perform. Meanwhile, Taiyo and Minami ran off to play, leaving Akira annoyed, but Ren advised him to relax a little instead of being so stiff. Kaoru and Taki decided to test their strength against each other, while Jun scolded the lollipop for dressing too indecently. The two girls decided to settle their dispute by having their spirits fight to prove who was right. Jun's swordsman and Alice clashed fiercely, only to discover that a demon and Zeus were also fighting nearby. The situation turned into a chaotic melee, but the crowd remained fixated solely on Akane's idol performance. Ren approached Ikanos and gave her a sticker featuring the festival's emblem, telling her to enjoy herself if she wanted to, though she chose to stay on guard. As the performance concluded, Ikanos suddenly spotted a suspicious figure. On their way home, the group realized that Ikanos had vanished. Kaoru suspected that she had acted alone. Back at the clubroom, no one knew where Ikanos had gone. Haruma arrived after hearing about her disappearance and asked if Ren's group had any information, but all they had from Ikanos was her phone. The group immediately set out to search for her. Entering the school, they noticed the lights flickering on and off. They soon found Ikanos, but she appeared to have no memory of them. Suddenly, 3 monsters flew out and attacked, forcing the group to flee. Although they were unsure if someone had activated an arena, it was clear they were still in the real world. Haruma suspected that Ikanos had been brainwashed, just like he was before. The group split up, and the 2 muscleheads charged in to fight the monsters, ensuring Aoi and Minami could escape safely. The 2 then crashed through a window, their fate unknown. Meanwhile, Ren's group hid in the gym, where they encountered the person controlling the monsters. Ren assumed this was just another student. Suddenly, all the monsters swarmed into the gym. Without hesitation, Ren's group summoned their spirits to fight. Ren asked Minami to watch over the girl they had found, but as Minami led her behind a tree, the girl spoke something strange and transformed into a monster. Ren realized she was the creature King had summoned. She introduced herself as Kushina and declared that Ren would be her sacrifice. Napoleon shielded the attack and identified Kushina's wood attribute, prompting Ren to order Ryoma to counter with his fire attribute. However, before Ryoma could strike, a monster impaled him. Napoleon charged to distract the enemy, but was suddenly teleported by a portal to face Kushina's charged attack. With one devastating blow, Napoleon was defeated. Ryoma continued the fight, but was teleported directly in front of Ikanos, where 2 monsters grabbed him. Alice opened fire to free him, but he appeared to be poisoned. Lollipop called Alice for healing, but she kept getting intercepted by portals. Aoi advised Alice to shoot into the portals if they appeared, which worked. The portals redirected the bullets back at the monsters. With the path clear, Alice rushed to Ryoma and shoved a recovery pastry into his mouth. Ryoma reignited with power and resumed fighting. Akira summoned his lightning warrior to lure the 3 monsters toward Alice. The lightning warrior clashed with Kushina, creating an opening for Ryoma to strike her, sending her flying. She teleported to safety and launched vines, hurling trees and rocks at Alice and Ryoma. Meanwhile, the lightning warrior was overwhelmed by the monsters. Kushina then trapped Alice and Ryoma within a massive area-wide attack. When it ended, all their spirits had fallen. At that moment, Haruma arrived, realizing Ikanos was under the control of a war god. Determined to save her, he used Ikanos' phone to summon Himiko. Despite his dark element ring reacting negatively to Himiko's fire attribute, Himiko chose to appear, willing to help him rescue Ikanos. She summoned a golem to trap the monsters and unleashed a colossal fireball, obliterating them all except Kushina. With the path clear, Ryoma and the others attacked together, finally defeating Kushina and freeing Ikanos from her control. Ikanos, now in Haruma's arms, felt confused and disoriented, unsure of what had just happened. However, at that very moment, King succeeded in teleporting the creature he sought into the human world. The next day, Ren saw news reports about the damage at the school. During class, Ikanos called him, revealing that she had discovered King's secret location. After school, the group gathered at the shopping center, where Ikanos explained that while tracking Kushina, she had found the code to King's hidden underground chamber. However, after seeing the elevator code, she was also captured, but thanks to it, they could now reach the place where King was hiding. The group then discovered that the place resembled a massive factory, but they had no idea what King was doing there. Lollipop, knowing that Ikanos liked Haruma, intentionally urged her to make a move. Lollipop then pushed Ikanos toward Haruma, but Ikanos was too shy to make any further advances. The group then took the elevator down and felt a strange sense of familiarity with the place. When they reached the deepest level, they saw the gate created by King. Haruma then saw his father, who had been dropped down by a monster, and immediately ran to him, but King no longer remembered who he was. Haruma demanded to know from the monster what it had done to his father. The creature claimed that it had only freed him from his suffering known as memories. The monster then revealed its true form and introduced itself as Babel. It stated that it had only saved King from the agony of emotions. Once a man consumed by despair, King was now free. However, Haruma demanded that it return his father's memories. He then summoned Lucifer to fight. But Babel drilled a hole through the ceiling and escaped to the surface. The group feared that it would devastate the city. They decided to split into two teams, Ren's team and Haruma's team. One team would secure King, while the other would confront Babel. Babel descended into a part of the city, created a colossal tower, and unleashed a swarm of mechanical bugs. These bugs began to extract memories from the surrounding citizens. Ren's group, unsure of Babel's location, quickly identified it when the towering structure gave away his position. They soon discovered the mechanical bugs abducting people and extracting something from them. When Teo passed by, he no longer recognized the group, signaling that his memories had been stolen. It became clear that Babel was targeting human memories. Ren rushed home, only to find that his mother and sister did not recognize him, and even threatened to call the police, accusing him of trespassing. Heartbroken, he apologized and left. Minami also felt devastated when her father no longer remembered her. The people, filled with anger toward Babel, gathered before the tower. Babel emerged from the structure, and the group discovered that Haruma was lying unconscious. Babel declared that Haruma had fallen into an eternal slumber and would never wake up. It had taken all the memories that Haruma needed to survive. Soon, he would even forget how to breathe. Babel admitted that it chose not to harm Ren directly, but instead attacked those around him to inflict the deepest pain possible, intending to leave him with nothing but sorrowful memories. The group then sent their spirits into battle while Haruma's team tried to get his body to safety. 3 spirits charged at Babel's head but were blown away by his power. Just then, Minami summoned her new spirit, a celestial angel. She rode on a giant syringe, flying around Babel and luring his tendrils into entangling themselves. She then dove in, stabbing the syringe into his mouth and detonating it. However, Babel remained undefeated. The group became surrounded by mechanical bugs, but Teo's team suddenly appeared to save them. Despite having lost their memories, Teo's team still chose to fight, driven purely by the desire to help others, even if they no longer remembered who Ren's group was. Aoi believed that if they fought together, they could overcome anything, reminding everyone that they had defeated 3 warlords together before. Ren resolved to fight alongside everyone and reclaim the stolen memories. He believed that Babel held those lost memories and that they would defeat him to take them back. Babel mocked their efforts, stating that mere insects like them would never stand a chance of victory. The 4 spirits charged in together, but Babel let out a thunderous roar, repelling them all. He declared that he would erase Ren and everyone he loved forever. But Ren was determined not to let that happen. The spirits launched another assault. Meanwhile, Haruma's team had yet to join the fight, still trying to get Haruma to safety. At that moment, Babel targeted Haruma's body. King, however, shielded Haruma with his own body. But then, the Thunder Warrior appeared to aid them. At that moment, the warlord who had previously accompanied Kushina was observing the battle and suddenly noticed Oragon. He revealed that Oragon was the one who had taken everything precious from him and demanded that Babel eliminate Oragon for him. Ren called out to Oragon to wake up and witness the spirits unleashing their combined attacks on Babel. However, with a single swing of his arm, Babel deflected all the incoming projectiles. They then noticed the mechanical bugs targeting Oragon, prompting Lollipop to toss Oragon to Minami. But Minami, in turn, kicked it straight toward Ren. Ren caught Oragon and tried to escape, but with Haruma on the brink of collapse, Oragon decided to become a decoy. Ren chose to accompany Oragon, knowing it couldn't run on its own. The two approached Babel together, with Akira following close behind. Ren expressed his gratitude to Oragon for bringing him into this journey without it. He would never have met so many friends. That's why he refused to let anyone perish. However, Babel recalled the mechanical bugs to himself, absorbing their power to charge up his next attack. He then unleashed an immensely powerful energy beam. Oragon, determined to handle it alone, took the hit and was badly injured. Babel coldly stated that Oragon would soon lose all memories of Ren. Suddenly, Ren found himself pulled into Orogen's memories, a place where the two had once met and shared a deep bond. Although the details were fuzzy, Orogen felt that they had been very close in the past. Despite its current condition, Orogen longed to remember everything. Ren promised that if they survived, he would treat Orogen to all the popcorn it could eat at Minami's cafe. They talked about fate, and Orogen believed that their meeting was destiny. They had known each other, lost their memories together, and now met again to fight side by side. Renewed with determination, they returned to reality. Ren then activated Orogen's special technique and entrusted the fight to it. Orogen radiated a pillar of light, prompting Babel to attack hastily to prevent its awakening. But Orogen, regaining its lost memories, transformed back into its true dragon form and unleashed a devastating blast, completely obliterating Babel. However, Orogen's memories immediately began to falter again, causing it to revert to a weakened state. Just then, the final warlord appeared, introducing himself as Karma, the warlord of light. He revealed that Babel had merely been his pawn and transported the entire group to his domain, the memory library. Karma declared that he was the one who had stolen everyone's memories, and the group resolved to fight him to the end. Seeing their defiance, Karma transformed and fired a shot directly at Orogen's head. Orogen collapsed, its body gradually disintegrating, and what remained of it was absorbed into a glowing stone. Enraged, Ren summoned Ryoma to fight. Karma, however, transformed into Doom, overpowering Ryoma and pushing him back. When Napoleon charged in, Karma switched into Mori. When the nurse angel flew up, he shifted into Nirvana. Akira quickly deduced that Karma could only transform into one form at a time, so they began rotating their attacks based on the warlord he became. The Thunder Warrior charged, and Karma turned into Mori. Ryoma rushed in to strike, but Karma evaded and switched to Nirvana, prompting Napoleon to engage. Yet, Karma dodged every assault effortlessly. Suddenly, they realized Ryoma was turning to stone. Karma then revealed his power, the law of causality. The more they moved, the slower they became, and the more they attacked, the weaker they would get. He then unleashed a hail of bullets at the group, shifted into Mori, and ensnared everyone with vines. Napoleon took the heaviest blow and was absorbed into the stone. Karma then switched to Nirvana and shot down the nurse angel before turning into Doom to smash Ryoma away. Seeing an opening, Akira sent the Thunder Warrior to strike the stone holding their friends, but Karma intercepted, breaking the Thunder Warrior's arm and absorbing its power to copy its ultimate technique. With a quick strike, the Thunder Warrior was defeated and disintegrated. However, Aoi swiftly handed King's phone to Akira, a device that King had entrusted to her for use in times of great need. Akira decided to use King's beast, summoning Yuri, an angel of judgment. Yuri soared into the air and struck the stone, but was quickly petrified. However, she shattered the stone from within, destroying it completely at the cost of breaking Akira's ring. Akira realized that the law of causality was gone, meaning they could fight freely. With Napoleon and the nurse angel revived, Ren launched Ryoma to combine his power with Yuri and the others. Karma fought back with all his might, but he was overwhelmed by the combined strength of the heroes. Ryoma's sword fell, and it seemed that all four spirits had perished along with Karma. Yet, Karma survived, revealing that victory was never his goal, he only wanted their memories. He then absorbed the memories of the other three, leaving Ren completely alone. As Ren tried to summon the fire wolf, Karma shot his hand, causing his phone to fall. Karma fired repeatedly, forcing Ren to desperately crawl toward his phone. Despite being hit again, he managed to input the summoning command before collapsing. Just as Karma thought him dead, Ren stood up, declaring that he would write his own destiny. He summoned Orogen. The others awakened and reunited with Ren. Orogen revealed that with the stone's destruction, Karma's entire memory library had vanished, returning everyone's memories. Enraged that Ren and Orogen still lived, Karma abandoned his plan to steal their memories and resolved to destroy the entire world. He initiated a self-destruction sequence that, upon completion, would unleash a massive explosion. Orogen urged Ren to launch him, and Harma arrived to assist. Orogen flew directly into Karma's explosion. Karma was shocked that Orogen wasn't destroyed upon contact, but Orogen declared that he wasn't alone, his friends were channeling their power into him. With their combined strength, Orogen pierced through Karma, destroying him and releasing all the memories he had stolen. The battle won, Orogen, saddened, bid farewell, explaining that he had to return to the beast world. He entrusted his notebook to Ren as a keepsake and then vanished. Shortly after, Haruma's mother awoke from her coma, and those who had lost their memories to Babel regained them. However, the ancient memories that Ren and his friends sought remained lost. Still, Ren vowed to cherish every memory he had with Uragan. Haruma decided to stay in the city to continue their journey together, for their game was far from over. Ren believed that one day, he would meet Uragan again. With that, the story came to an end.